It is only when we truly know and understand we have limited time on earth, and we have no way of knowing when our time is up, that we will begin to live each day to the fullest, as if it were the only one we have. "20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. The purpose of life, after all, is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for a newer and richer experience. To those who stay put, the world is but an imaginary place. But to the movers, the makers, and the shakers, the world is all around, an endless invitation. So the only question left to ask yourself is, where should you go now?"
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Debi Salmons, and I am coming from you today in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, from my cranberry farm where we are harvesting. Guys, that little video is absolutely amazing. How about that? The purpose of life is to live it. I don't know about you, but that is the deal. I want to talk to you guys this morning about a really sensitive topic. I'm going to be honest with you. I really thought long and hard about this, and I did some personal prayer because I really want to deliver this message in a loving, heartfelt way. I don't want this message to cause people to go backwards mentally. I want it to help people to move forward. So my topic today is going from a victim to being a victor, right? Because here's something you need to understand. Life isn't perfect. It isn't. And while I want you to know this, while it's seriously important to claim the role of a victim, if we have genuinely been victimized or abused, because many people have, okay? Many people have truly been victimized, but we can't move on with our lives unless we step out of that victim role, right? And into what some people call the survivor role, or what I like to call the victor role. Okay. Most all of us have had some sort of victimization. Seriously, whether it's at a grand scale or whether it's just watching and having people in our lives and watching how they've modeled certain behaviors that actually maybe aren't the best. But I'm going to step back and I want to talk to you guys about what a victim mentality is. And why is this so super important? Because most of us think about a victim mentality on a personal level only, just maybe in our relationships with people. But if we have a victim mentality, it affects everything, absolutely everything. Our relationships with our spouses, our children, our family, our employees, our coworkers, our ability to achieve success or not. This mentality affects everything. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't know, I am a psychologist by trade, but I have not practiced for many years. But I am absolutely intrigued by the brain and how it works and how complicated we are as human beings. We are truly amazing creations. And everything starts here. Those of you that know me, people that work with me on a daily basis, I talk about mindset every day, because it starts there. So I'm going to give you the good old official version of what victim mentality is. And it's really a psychological term, you guys, and it refers to a type of mindset that we have. But it's a type of mindset that actually is much more negative. We do negative things or drama type things to attract attention to ourselves, or the big one, to avoid self-responsibility, right? It's easier to blame somebody else. So that type of mindset, that's what it does. It constantly blames somebody else. Finger pointing, pity parties, right? Pessimism, fear, anxiety. It's all that this mentality blames other people and other circumstances for your unhappiness or your lack of success, right? What you need to understand is nobody is born with that mentality. No one. Just like you're not born clinically depressed or clinically, filled with anxiety. It's an acquired mentality. It's something that we learn, okay? It's the result of our early conditioning and, our early coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms, right? Most victims that we talk about victims were victimized in some way as little kids, right? Whether it was, unfortunately, through physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse. I'm going to tell you that I've kind of experienced all of those. And I've dealt with them, okay? But we can also adopt an unhealthy victim mentality and coping mechanisms, learning from our family. I didn't want that to move forward in my family. So I began the process of personal growth and development, right? Because listen, this is what's important. This is why this is touchy. Whatever happens to us as children, you guys, is completely beyond our control. Children are not in positions of power, right? So I fully 100% acknowledge that. But understand this. The day arrives as adults where it's our responsibility now. It's our responsibility to step into our power and reclaim our responsibility for our happiness and for our success. Yes, we were a victim, but now it's our turn to take our power back. So I talk to a lot of people and they're like, well, why do I stay stuck in there? There are some really strange benefits of being a victim, because paying a victim, it actually has some payoffs. You don't have to be responsible, right? You don't have to take responsibility for failures. Other people give you attention. Other people might even feel sorry for you. This is a big one, guys. We're an entrepreneurial community, right? We take risks. When you play a victim, people are less likely to criticize you or upset you. You have the right to complain, right? As a victim. As a victim, you're more likely to get what you want. And this one is a little bit tough to hear. But sometimes a victim feels more interesting because they got some stories to tell, right? And you don't have to feel bored. If you've got drama in your life, you don't have to feel bored with your life. You get to bypass the idea of being angry about something because you're just feeling sad about it, right? Those are just a couple of things. Because in a very strange, perverse way, playing a victim gives you a lot of power. It gives you what we call righteous indignation. The right to not feel responsible. The right to feel sad. The right to go through and feel uncomfortable emotions, which we all have, right? But you know that there's a dark side of this, because the majority of people that are playing the victim or acting the victim, you don't even realize you're doing it. It's unconscious or unintentional. There's comfort. Strangely, there's comfort in the safety or what's familiar in being a victim, because it rewards you with those things that I mentioned. You don't have to take responsibility for your behavior because it's other people, right? But it prevents you from growing and feeling some certain emotions, right? I'm just going to throw out a few different kind of comments that people make that show the victim mentality. How about this one? Life is always against me. Nothing ever works for me. Doesn't happen. Other people. You're cynical. You're pessimistic. Well, that'll never work. Or, yeah, it'll work for somebody else, but it won't work for me. Those are all signs. This one I see and hear a lot. We see our problems as catastrophes. It's the biggest catastrophe ever. And we blow them out of proportion, right? People like to play this game, and it's so strange. Like, well, I have it worse than you. Well, you should hear what's going on in my life. You think you have it's bad. Guys, people, you don't want to be the winner of the worst victim contest. You want to win the victory, right? Some more thought processes. You think people are trying to hurt you. You think people are doing it on purpose. You're targeted. They're just out for me. You keep reliving those past painful memories, right? And even, this is a biggie, even when stuff goes right, you find something to complain about or something that it's not good enough, right? It's like accepting a compliment. If someone says, you look really nice today. Oh, well, yeah, but my hair doesn't look good. Oh, yeah, well, but I need to lose 20 pounds, right? That's a victim mentality. Accept the good. Another classic sign is refusing to listen to other people's perspectives. When you're talking about your issues and someone tries to help you and you just shut it down, you're set. You want to be a victim, right? You feel powerless. You feel like you can't cope. You can't cope with problems. It's too big. You feel attacked if somebody tries to help you. And you are not responsible for what happens in your life. You totally believe that. Other people are. If they would only act this way, things would be great. If they had only done that, it would be great. You think everybody's better off than you, right? Recognize. The world's scary. That's a victim. That's all victim mentality. So here's the good news. You can change that. You can completely change that mentality. How? First of all, by thinking about what you're thinking about, right? Hear your own thoughts. Hear your language. Language makes a difference. Here's an example. It's a very simple example. I actually shared it yesterday or the day before with a group of women. One of the first things that I remember that I wanted to be or do when I was maybe 7, 8 years old was I wanted to be a commercial airline pilot. Okay. Now, my parents were entrepreneurs and they were amazing. But this is what they said to me. Now, recognize this. All they said was, oh, well, there's only about 4 female airline pilots out there in the world. That's all they said. What I heard was, oh, there's only 4 female airline pilots out there. I can't possibly do that. So I shut that down. Now understand, my parents didn't mean anything by that. We actually had the conversation years later. And they said, well, we just thought you could have been the 5th one, right? But I took it more as a victim and thought I can't do it. So our language makes a difference. So one of the ways that you can stop having that victim mentality is to hear what you're saying to yourself and start replacing the word you with I. So for example, right? Some of you may have heard this before. In relationships with people, you say, man, you make me so angry. No. Start by replacing that with, I feel so angry. That little shift makes a difference. It truly, truly does. Because that little simple trick, if you start changing it from you to I or me, it's the beginning of learning to reprogram yourself to be responsible for your own happiness and success. For those people in my industry, which is direct sales, network marketing, I've heard it a million times. If my sponsor had done, if you had done, if the company had done, that's victim. Switch it. Switch it around. Okay. The second thing is to stop seeing yourself as a victim. Yes, please acknowledge if you've been victimized in your life. And if you've had trauma like I did, you have to work through it and you may need outside help. But start seeing yourself as a victor, as a winner. A victim argues with their life, right? Literally, they argue with their life. If this was this way, if this was that way, it's a battle. It's a constant battle as a victim. As a victor, you embrace it and you're ready to go. A victim lives in the past. A victor lives right now. Right now, what's happening right now. A victim feels helpless. A victor takes back control. Take back control. And I need you to understand, a victim mentality can become addictive. That's why you have to stop yourself and look at it. Because I can promise you that a victor mentality is far more empowering in the long run. Once you start seeing yourself as a victor, you'll begin to feel better about your life and the world in general. And even more important, you will start attracting to you other people with that mentality. Because listening to a victor is so much more refreshing and so more inspiring, you guys, than listening to a victim. Right? Now hear me. I care. And we listen to victims and we let people be heard. But move on. Move out of that. Right? So another important thing is to be kind and compassionate towards yourself. Okay? Be careful about becoming a victim of being a victim. Think of that. Because this role isn't something you chose. You developed it in your childhood. I guarantee it. So be gentle with yourself and practice self-love, self-care as you heal those wounds and move forward out of the victim mentality into the victor, right? Practice self-care. See a therapist if you need to. Try journaling, affirmations. Gavin talked to you about affirmations the other day. Set up some of those. Talk to other people. Get in self-help groups. Get surrounded by communities that are speaking positivity and success into you. Explore. Take some time. Explore those beliefs. They're mistaken beliefs. Explore them. Look at them. Try to understand where they came from and then try to change them. Think about the thought. What is this thought? Why is it causing this suffering? Where does it come from? Don't just accept, question. Don't have an unexamined life. Examine it. Examine it. Examine your thoughts. Okay? Stop falling into my problems are worse than your problems. If my sponsor, if my boss, if my spouse, all of that, take responsibility. Own your failures and your successes. Okay? Because here's what I say. And this has been my motto now for years. It's my motto with the people I work at. To go from victim to victor, just go succeed at them. So guys, I hope that this helped you a little bit. I hope that this didn't step on anybody's toes. It's meant in love, and it's meant to move you from a stuck place to a place of movement. My passion is to help people understand their worth and to create a life that they love. And you have to do that by being a victor. So thank you so very much, and we'll see you guys next week.